Bonjour, French 2 students. This is Mrs. Krumstrider with your Lesson 22 listening activities from your workbook, pages 187 to 190. So please get out your workbook at this time and open it up to page 187.
Unité 7. Le temps libre. Leçon 22. Vive le week-end. Section 1. Le passé composé. A. Écoutez et répétez. To describe what they did in the past, French people use the passé composé. The passé composé consists of two parts, the present tense of avoir and the past participle of the verb describing the action.
Nous avons travaillé.
We have worked. We worked.
Nous n'avons pas travaillé.
We have not worked. We did not work. Now you will practice the passé composé of familiar verbs. First, listen and repeat some affirmative sentences. Commençons.
J'ai travaillé. Tu as étudié. Il a joué au foot. Elle a regardé la télé. Nous avons nagé. Vous avez mangé. Ils ont visité Québec. Elles ont parlé français.
Now listen and repeat some negative sentences. Commençons. Je n'ai pas travaillé. Tu n'as pas étudié. Il n'a pas joué au foot. Elle n'a pas regardé la télé. Nous n'avons pas nagé. Vous n'avez pas mangé. Ils n'ont pas visité Québec. Elles n'ont pas parlé français. B. Compréhension orale. Now you will hear about the activities of various people. Can you tell whether these sentences describe what the people are doing now or what they did this past weekend? If you hear a verb in the present, the action is taking place today. Check row A. If you hear a verb in the passé composé, the action took place last weekend. Mark row B. Modèle.
Nous avons acheté des vêtements.
Nous avons acheté is the passé composé form of acheter. You would check row B. Commençons. 1. Mes copains ont joué au basket. 2.
Nous jouons au foot.
3. Tu assistes à un match de tennis. 4.
Tu achètes des CD.
5. Mélanie a réparé son vélo. 6.
J'ai rangé ma chambre.
7. Vous avez loué un film. 8.
J'ai préparé le dîner.
9. Marc lave la voiture de son père. 10.
Ils ont rencontré leurs copains au café.
Now check your answers. You should have marked row A for items 2, 3, 4, and 9. and row B for items 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. C. Compréhension orale. You will learn what Jean-Claude and Nathalie did yesterday. First, you will hear a description of what they did. Then you will hear a dialogue between the two of them in which they repeat the same information. As you listen, indicate in your workbook who did each of the things listed by placing a check in the appropriate column. Partie A. Mercredi. Écoutez.
Qu'est-ce que Jean-Claude a fait mercredi? Il a passé l'après-midi dans les magasins. Il a regardé des vêtements. Il a acheté un CD. Il a mangé un sandwich dans un café. Il a dîné avec sa famille. Après le dîner, Jean-Claude a téléphoné à une copine. Ensuite, il a regardé un film à la télé. Et, bien sûr, il a écouté son nouveau CD. Et qu'est-ce que Nathalie a fait? Elle a étudié. Elle a étudié tout l'après-midi et elle a étudié après le dîner aussi.
Partie B. Maintenant, c'est jeudi matin. Jean-Claude rencontre Nathalie devant l'école. Écoutez.
Salut Jean-Claude.
Salut Nathalie, ça va?
Oui, ça va. Dis, qu'est-ce que tu as fait hier après-midi?
J'ai fait les magasins, j'ai regardé les vêtements et j'ai acheté un nouveau CD.
Et hier soir?
Eh bien, j'ai dîné. Et puis j'ai téléphoné à une copine. J'ai regardé un film à la télé et j'ai écouté mon nouveau CD.
Et quand est-ce que tu as étudié?
Je n'ai pas étudié.
Comment? Tu n'as pas étudié?
Non, je n'ai pas étudié. Pourquoi?
Et l'examen?
Quel examen?
L'examen de ce matin? L'examen de maths?
Oh zut, je n'ai pas préparé l'examen.
Now check your answers. You should have marked Jean-Claude for questions 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8. You should have marked Nathalie for questions 2 and 6. D. Questions et réponses. Now it is your turn. Someone will ask you what you did last weekend. Look at the illustrations and answer yes or no as appropriate. Modèle.
Est-ce que tu as joué au tennis?
If you played tennis last weekend, you would say,
Oui, j'ai joué au tennis.
if you did not play tennis, you would say,
Non, je n'ai pas joué au tennis.
Commençons.
1. Est-ce que tu as acheté des vêtements?
Oui, j'ai acheté des vêtements.
Non, je n'ai pas acheté de vêtements.
2. Est-ce que tu as réparé ton vélo?
Oui, j'ai réparé mon vélo.
Non, je n'ai pas réparé mon vélo.
3. Est-ce que tu as dîné au restaurant?
Oui, j'ai dîné au restaurant.
Non, je n'ai pas dîné au restaurant.
4. Est-ce que tu as rencontré des amis?
Oui, j'ai rencontré des amis.
Non, je n'ai pas rencontré d'amis.
5. Est-ce que tu as rangé ta chambre?
Oui, j'ai rangé ma chambre.
Non, je n'ai pas rangé ma chambre.
Here is a key for that.
E. Écoutez et parlez. You will now hear the names of various people. Describe what they did yesterday using the illustrations in your workbook. Modèle.
Stéphanie.
Elle a joué au foot.
Commençons.
1. Antoine.
Il a joué au basket.
2. Mélanie.
Elle a joué au volley.
3. Nicolas et Thomas.
Ils ont nagé.
4. Isabelle et Alice.
Elles ont regardé la télé.
5. Nous.
Nous avons écouté des CD.
6. Vous.
Vous avez dîné au restaurant.
7. Marc et Florence.
Ils ont voyagé.
Again, here is that key for you.
Section 2. Dictée. F. Écoutez et écrivez. You will hear a short dialogue spoken twice. First, listen carefully to what the people are saying. The second time you hear the dialogue, fill in the missing words. Écoutez.
Tu as dîné chez toi hier?
Non, je n'ai pas dîné chez moi. J'ai dîné dans un restaurant italien avec ma copine.
Qu'est-ce que vous avez mangé?
Nous avons mangé des pizzas.
Listen again and fill in the missing words.
Tu as dîné chez toi hier?
Non, je n'ai pas dîné chez moi. J'ai dîné dans un restaurant italien avec ma copine.
Qu'est-ce que vous avez mangé?
Nous avons mangé des pizzas.
Here's that key. So we have tu as dîné chez toi hier. No, je n'ai pas dîné chez moi. J'ai dîné dans un restaurant italien avec ma copine. Qu'est-ce que vous avez mangé? Nous avons mangé des pizzas. Working through that translation. Did you have dinner at your house last night or yesterday? No, I didn't have dinner at my house. I had dinner in an Italian restaurant with my female friend or my girlfriend. What did you eat? We ate some pizzas. All right, so let's take a look at your homework and kind of go over what you need to do for that. So your homework is from your workbook, pages 191 to 194. So we will start by taking a look at exercise 1, pourquoi. Read what the following people are doing and then explain why using avoir and one of the expressions in the box. So we have Alice mange une pizza, so if she's eating a pizza, it's because she's hungry, so elle a faim. Remember, femme has hunger. Well, I thought that would work, but maybe not, so we'll try a little different color. So femme is hunger. Soif is thirst. Chaud is warm. Froid is cold. So, je mets mon pull. I put on my sweater. Well, I would be putting on my sweater because I'm cold. So, j'ai froid. So, notice you're using the same subject in your sentence as the subject of the sentence in your book. Exercise 2. Vive la différence. People like to do similar things, but they do them differently. Explain this by completing the sentences below with the appropriate passé composé forms of the verbs in parentheses. Again, remember, passé composé means that we're going to require two words to form the passé composé, the form of avoir plus a past participle. Okay. So in all of the blanks in number 1, we're using visiter. So à Paris, tu as visité. Notre-Dame, nous avons visité. Le musée d'Orsay, ces touristes ont visité le Centre Pompidou. So 2 words in each of these blanks. The first verb or first word is always the conjugated form of avoir that matches the subject of the sentence, and then the past participle. Exercice 3. Qu'est-ce qu'ils ont fait? Last Saturday, different people did different things. Explain what each one did by completing the sentences with the appropriate passé composé forms of the verbs in the box. Be logical. Again, passé composé requires 2 words, right? Our conjugated, avoir, and then our past participle. Again, our past participles are going to come from this box. So remember, acheter means to buy. Assister means to attend. Ranger means to pick up. Laver means to wash. Nettoyer means to clean. Rencontrer means to meet. Travailler means to work. And visiter means to visit. Okay. So you're deciding kind of 2 things that you're doing at once here. You're deciding which word goes in the blank based on its meaning, and then you're making it the passé composé form. So ma cousine something, sa chambre. So I could probably kind of use 2 choices here, and whichever one I use, I'll use the other one. I could either say she cleaned or she picked up her room. So we'll say that she cleaned. So ma cousine a nettoyé sa chambre, which means I've used this one, so I can't use it again. Okay, so notice there are 8 verbs and 8 sentences. So you're writing those 2 words for the passé composé in this blanks. Exercice 4, et toi. Say whether or not you like you did the following things last weekend. So the picture is giving you the activity, and you need to say whether or not you did these things last weekend. Again, last weekend, so we're using the passé composé, right, which means 2 words. So I did not play ping pong last weekend, so my sentence would be je n'ai pas joué. Okay. Au ping pong. Right? And if you did play ping pong last weekend, then you wouldn't have the N apostrophe and you wouldn't have the pa in there. So again, some of these should be affirmative, some of these should be negative, depending upon whether you did these things last weekend. This one, just to make sure, this one is jouer au volley. This is téléphoner. This picture is regarder la télé. This is chanter. And this is meant to be work, so travailler. Exercice 5, on ne peut pas tout faire. Say that the people below did the first thing in parentheses, but not the second. So looking at our example, right, our first verb goes in the first blank and it's affirmative. Notice that our second verb goes in the second blank and it is negative. Okay, and we're going to follow that pattern all throughout this one. So, travailler is going to go in my first sentence and voyager in my second. So for number one, we're going to have news. And again, we're still doing passé composé, right? So we're always going to have at least 2 words, right? And when they're negative, it'll be more than that. So, l'été dernier, nous n'avons, or sorry, it's affirmative. Nous avons travaillé. Nous n'avons pas, and then our second verb, which is voyager. So make sure you're forming your past participles correctly here. Exercice 6, conversation. Complete each of the following mini dialogues by writing in the question that was asked. So again, the reason they're giving you the answer is so that you can figure out what the question was, right? And they're helping you out with that because they're giving you your question words. So we have ou and vous, so we want to ask. But we see our verb is dîner, so then we also have to have our dîner here. So, où est-ce que vous avez dîné samedi soir? Now, again, I don't care if you write them the long way here or the short way, right? This one short way would be où avez-vous dîné? Okay, so I don't care which way you write these questions, but again, you are using the passé composé. So again, that means your verbs have to be made of 2 words. So, for example, number 1, okay, is going to be à qui est-ce que tu as, and to know my past participle, I have to look here. It's going to be téléphoné. Okay, and again, if you want to write it the short way, that would be fine as well. Okay, so it does not matter to me. Exercice 7, communication journal personnel. Write a short paragraph in the passé composé saying what you did or did not do last weekend. You may want to use the expressions in the box as a guide. So again, they're just asking you to practice some more with this passé composé. Remember, again, that's going to take 2 words. So if you did something, you're probably going to start with j'ai, and then your past participle. If you didn't do something, then it's going to be je n'ai pas, and then your past participle. If you would just write 5 to 6 sentences so that you get some more practice with the passé composé. Au revoir. À demain.